Good morning. First time, I think, in a long time, maybe ever, since early in January or something, that I've started a video after 6 o'clock. It's actually 6:11 right now. And when I came to the computer at first, I didn't have a clue for sure what I was going to talk about. I had some ideas, but I didn't feel any of them were the right one for today. And as I looked through some of my emails, I came upon the Tuts message, Totally Unique Thoughts by Mike Dooley, that I get Monday through Friday. And as I read it, it triggered lots of thoughts, and I've been sitting here just meditating on what it says this morning, and I'm going to read it to you. And then I'll tell you what the title of today's is, but you'll probably figure it out by the time I get to the end of what I read. The message was, on the one hand, I realize it must seem quite disconcerting when you see bad things happening to good people and good things happening to bad people. On the other, Ron, couldn't this be seen as proof that thoughts become things is an inviolate law? No matter who thinks what, that all are innately endowed with supernatural powers, that I pass no judgment, and that there is nothing you cannot have, do, or be if you can first think it. Feeling better? The universe. And then I scrolled down for the PS. Besides, nothing happens to anyone, Ron, that isn't a gift in disguise. Lots to ponder in those few sentences, and I title this Gifts in Disguise. When I was ready to go to bed last night, I get a telephone call from my son. He said, "Dad, get over to my place right now. I have a flat tire and I feel like something is wrong." And I went over to his place. Nothing was wrong. Everything was based on somebody drawing me into a drama. And I had called my son and given him a report on what I was told. And then my son got a flat tire and couldn't get back to his own house. Anyway, make the long story short, because the story isn't important, I didn't get to bed till 1 o'clock. And then I woke up at 4:30 and fell back to sleep. And didn't wake up again till past 5:30, going on 6 o'clock. And so my meditation was abbreviated this morning. And when I finally did come to the computer, it was almost 6. 4 or 5 minutes to 6. Actually, it was a little bit earlier than that. But anyway, I read this and I knew, okay, that's where my message is today. And I've always promised to give you the message of where I am and tell the truth. No sugarcoating, because one of the things that I want people to realize is that being human, you do have ups and downs. You do get drawn into dramas. You do have things that happen that seem like bad things when you know that you're not a bad person. We do have judgments that when we look out at the world and we see how people seem to be prospering in the world, and we think of them as being bad people. Because even though it says the universe doesn't have judgments or God doesn't judge us, that's certainly not true of us, is it? We tend to judge each other all the time and ourselves, and often very harshly. Some things that I don't think are appropriate to share, and I just had one of those thoughts. But as I look back on my life, some of the things that I've wanted in the past, if they had worked out the way that I wanted them to, it wouldn't have been a good thing. I've said this before, the country song comes to mind. Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers. Indeed, I can say that that is true in my life. And as I'm at this stage on the last day, the last of the 6th day in the 9th wave of the Mayan calendar, tomorrow begins the 6th and final night in this 9th wave, this phase. I have to say that in this day, more things that I considered bad happened on the very first day of this period. My computer crashed, and I still don't have that computer back up. But as someone pointed out to me yesterday, it forced me to buy my first ever laptop, which made me mobile. I can take my computer and my work with me and still be able to do my videos and still be able to do the things that I absolutely need to get done. So in a sense, that was a gift in disguise. I have had 3 flat tires during this period. My battery died in my car and I had to get it replaced. There have been many things that have happened during this day, this 6th day, that I would not have chosen for myself. Leaving the new way, I would not have chosen that. I did not see that coming. Do I yet see the gift in disguise in all of these things? No, not completely. But I've learned enough and I've gained enough wisdom to know that truly in everything that happens to me there is good. If I will only look for it. If I will only seek it. And focus with the question, where is the good in this? Because sometimes I don't see it. Sometimes I don't see it. It's not always apparent. And I want you to know that I struggle with this. Some people have written me and they want me to answer the deepest dilemmas of their lives and shed light on it. And oftentimes I can't. Because one thing, it's not my life. It's not my set of issues. And it's hard for me sometimes to see how anything that I could say would help other than just to encourage people that the answers are within themselves. But sometimes I don't even find the answers easily within myself. Why do I get drawn into some of the dramas that I do? Sometimes it's not obvious. So I reflect on these things this morning. Universe said that we are all innately endowed with supernatural powers. Yes, we have been endowed with such powers that we can even create our own illusions and believe it's real. As we look around at what's going on in the world, most people, because they pay attention to the news, would see a lot of what's happening as fearful and traumatic and terrible stuff happening. When I see the collapse of the world system, I've long not seen it as a bad thing. I've seen it as something very wonderful and something good, because I know that good is going to come out of that. I don't even question that anymore. We're on a course that will change history. Literally, we're in the cusp of the old paradigm collapsing and the new paradigm being born. Both are here right now. They're still present with us right now. And as the old collapses, yes, it looks very, very bad. But we know that the old has to give way to the new. The night has to give way to the day. And even though this night, the sixth night, the sixth day seemed more like a night, like the fifth night should have been. The fifth night, things seemed so wonderful to me. Nothing seemed bad. Just the opposite here. So sometimes things are turned around for me in my life that are the opposite of what I would expect and what seems to be the supposed reality seems to be the opposite. And I live with that. And each of us must. We must digest the things in our lives and make peace with them. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm making peace with the fact that I started later than usual. I didn't even want to admit that I was starting after 6 o'clock because in a sense I felt embarrassed. But then I use it and I create with it. That's what we're taught all the time in the workshops. A thing is what it is. Use it, create with it. It is what it is. And that's about being authentic too. When we're living in an artificial world from our artificial self, we only want to put our best foot forward. We want to pretend that everything is good when it doesn't feel that way. Authentic people say, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm going to create with it. It's my truth in this moment. Some people don't get that even yet. They want me to always put a spiritual face on something. That was something that I was meditating on before I even came to the computer. But it doesn't work that way. Not for me. It's not where I am. I'm going to be the genuine, authentic person that I promised you to be. I'm going to tell it like it is, even when I don't want to. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to cherry pick only the things that are wonderful. Human life isn't like that. And yes, we judge. And yes, I know that everything that happens to me is a gift in disguise. Sometimes it's not in disguise. Sometimes it's obvious. But the things that are not so obvious truly are gifts in disguise. Namaste.